That was Trevor Lawrence, and you betcha he was a weekend warrior. An excellent run here for Trevor Lawrence, whose breakout season is officially underway. He finishes 30 for 42, 368 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns, guys. It took a little while to get going, but the Trevor Lawrence breakout is officially here.
Oh, yeah. He's been great. Super annoying because he's sitting on my bench. Sitting on my bench. The Dynasty League that I was talking about earlier, I always have Trevor Lawrence. Now, I started Jared Goff and Kyler Murray over him. I feel good about that process.
That's fine.
Trevor Lawrence had missed much of the week in practice. He got an limited practice on Friday. So you're like, if he's going to be 100%, you don't know. You expect a low-scoring game against the Tennessee Titans. And what does he do? He comes out and just absolutely crushes. He's the number 1 quarterback heading into Monday night for fantasy in week number 14. 33.4 fantasy points for you. It's just unbelievable. He's now had 20 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4. He's completed over 7% of his passes in 4 of the past 5. He's 7th among quarterbacks in pass attempts. You saw it he's getting a little bit of points with his legs as well, as you see it there on the, in terms of the rushing touchdown that we led off the segment with. And here's Evan Ingram. Don't even get me started. That should have been all Christian Kirk.
Is that Travis Kelce out there?
I mean, we want to celebrate, and I'm bitter. I'm a bitter Barry. I'm absolutely a bitter Barry.
I'm a bitter Barry.
Do you understand? I am.
Third person.
I'm a Barry.
Oh, you're at the top of the board.
Wow,
by a good margin.
Doubled everyone else and then some. At least Chig is there.
Right.
That was good.
Yeah. Chig Okonkwo, who was my bold prediction on Fantasy Football pregame as a top 10 fantasy tight end, that's going to come true. He's a tight end 3 heading into Monday Night Football. But Evan Ingram, it's his best fantasy game of his career. Not just this year, of his career.
It's been around a while as well, Evan Ingram.
Back-to-back games with 7 targets and a touchdown. He's 3rd among tight ends in routes run this season, tied for 4th in receptions. Again, we talked about this. Again, shout out to Mike Clay, who pointed this out. Heading into the game, he was the 15th best tight end on fantasy. And now he's the 4th best in terms of total points for the season because he just had such a ridiculously monster game against me with no reason whatsoever. He shouldn't have been started. That's the so annoying thing. It's like it's a dumb start. Yep. And yet, somebody did start him against me in this crazy deep.
Don't understand Swagos at all. Watch them get blown out by Dallas and beat the Jets. Who knows what they'll do.
You just never know what to expect with them anymore.
But an impressive look. Let's try to, my bitterness aside, let's try to move this forward. I will say, look, this game played out a lot of times games don't play out how we expected, but this game played out exactly how we thought, which is that they're going to struggle to run the ball. We didn't think Etienne would have a lot of success against that Tennessee front. He did not. 17 for 32. You like the usage there. Had Lawrence just handed it off and he catches in the touchdown, maybe you forget about it here. But we thought it would be a heavy passing game here. Christian Kirk's only gets 7 targets, but Zay Jones is the thing, guys. 8 for 77 and a touchdown for Zay Jones. He continues to be productive and get double-digit targets every single week in a passing offense that's pretty good. Good for Doug Peterson, the anti-Urban Meyer.
Good year for Doug.
Yeah, no, it's been
okay.
Starting to trend the right way, and that Titans secondary.
When you consider the mess that he inherited,
that
Urban Meyer, the dumpster fire that Urban Meyer left.
It's not a one-year fix.
No,
they can still win the division.
They
control their. Don't they control their destiny?
They need some help, but if they beat Tennessee, they're in a good spot the second time.
Another strange one here: Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy. Russell Wilson does leave the game in the 4th quarter, but before that, 23 of 36, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. He even got the run game going at over 50 yards on 4 rush attempts. I think the big talking point here, guys, though, is Jerry Jeudy catching 3 touchdowns, the best fantasy game of his career.
24% target share since week 6. We thought Jeudy would have a good game. I think the word we used was a little bit was uninspiring, though, because the touchdowns just haven't been there for Jerry Jeudy. He inspired. By far the best fantasy game of his career. And what was exciting was that all 3 of his touchdowns came in the red zone. We thought there would be a shootout here against Kansas City that they'd have to throw to keep up with them. That came true. We thought that with Cortland Sutton, Jeudy would get a heavy target share. That came true. We didn't expect 3 touchdowns, but still 8 for 73, really impressive. 2 of his 3 end zone targets came inside the 10-yard line as well. Red zone targets came inside the 10-yard line. This was a positive step forward, and I think you feel good about him against Arizona. even if it's Brett Rippon under center, even if Courtland Sutton, especially if Courtland Sutton doesn't come back.
Yep, great game from Russell Wilson as well, which we quickly touched on. 247 passing yards, running it as well, 3 touchdowns, and then, of course, as soon as something good happens, he gets concussed. But Jerick McKinnon on the Kansas City side, he was the biggest story where he goes 7 for 112
right now
receiving. It's unbelievable, and that's just what happens when you play Patrick Mahomes. You get some random massive touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, look, the crazy play where he sort of underhand knuckleballs it, and McKinnon just catches it and is off to the races. That's fluky. Here's the play as you watch it right here. Here's Mahomes just running around. Let me try to make something happen. He's stiffing arm and then just flips it. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Goes from strip sack to the right touchdown.
And heads up for McKinnon for being there, making the catch, and just getting to the end zone here. It's just a ridiculous play. Like, you run out of adjectives to describe Mahomes. What I will say, though, about McKinnon, this is a fluky play, obviously. He has, however, had double-digit fantasy points now in 4 of the past 6. He's had back-to-back games with double-digit touches. He is the passing down back on a pass-first offense that likes to throw the ball. And it's really with CEH on the shelf. It is Pacheco and McKinnon, and I do think McKinnon is a viable flex, especially next week against Houston. Look at their schedule, by the way. Houston, Seattle, Denver again, and then at Las Vegas. Like, the Chiefs' schedule is really nice for their defense, for all of their position players.
Yep, and they're just going to continue to, I think McKinnon particularly, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he's just going to continue to produce and accumulate stats, and a lot of time it's going to go to the running back, and McKinnon's clearly the guy in the pass.
But I think people might be willing to write it off. It was a fluky play,
he's
been solid. He's very much a viable flex in PPR leagues.
Yep.
The last one here, we've talked about it was a weekend of random production. Chris Moore has 10 catches on 11 targets. I mean, this was only his second career game with more than 70 receiving yards, Barry.
No Nico Collins, no Brandon Cooks, in a game in which the Texans, give them credit, they were very competitive with the Cowboys. Honestly, they should have won.
Yeah, they
should. They absolutely
should have punched it in.
They should have punched it in and at least kick a field goal there. Like, Rex Burkhead, what are you doing? I would have cut Rex Burkhead. He runs the wrong way. They call a timeout, for the 4th and 1 goal play, and then he still runs the wrong way. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that Brandon Cooks has missed a couple of weeks. Nico Collins, if he doesn't come back, look, they play the Chiefs next week. Again, we talk about this. Teams have to throw against the Chiefs. 18.5 fantasy points in the 2 games where he's played more than 70% of the snaps. If Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks are out again, he should play again more than 70% of the snaps. Does seem like he has a connection with Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll.
Doesn't matter.
Houston,
can't keep him down.
It doesn't matter. But that was sort of interesting. Only other random guy, we talked about Chuba Hubbard a little bit there. I still prefer Deontay Foreman in that backfield.
Yep.
It was a nice game here. He's now had back-to-back games with 17 touches. They do want to go run heavy in Carolina, but they play the Steelers this week. I can't imagine, in a week in which there's no teams on a bye, Hubbard's nothing more than sort of a desperation flex. But it's a team that's running well. I'll give them credit there.
We're going to break. When we're back, look on the other side of things. It's Sunday Scaries from the weekend.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.